Welcome to Conversation with Zaki Baruti, with your host, Zaki Baruti. And like I always want to give a shout out to my biological family. What's happening to the Universal African Peoples Organization family, what's going on, and to New Life Evangelistic Center family headed by Reverend Rice. Keep up the great work, and a shout out to our cameraman Bob, who's an excellent cameraman. On that note, we're going to have another great show because we're going to be doing part 2 of a 2-part series with a very fascinating young lady named Kendra Fipps, who is an author as well as a private business owner. And I had the great opportunity of meeting her in Jackson, Mississippi several months ago or so. And it was at a filming of the movie Teal. And I just want to welcome, as well as, let me say, well, I'll do it after welcoming you to Conversation with Zaki Baruti.
Thank you so much for having me.
Okay, thank you for being on for a second time. Also, in my introduction, I should have made mention that in the most recent edition of our newspaper, the African News World, which is a quarterly newspaper, you submitted an article dealing with economics in our community as a form of black love, because that particular issue of our newspaper was dedicated to the concept of black love. So with that said, on a prior interview, I had asked that you share a little bit about yourself. There may be somebody who had missed that show, but would you reintroduce yourself to our listening audience?
Yes, I was born and raised in Mount Bayou, Mississippi. Mother raised 5 kids. She was single, and I think what mother gave us is the ability that you can dream and you can do whatever you truly want to do. And she supported everything that we did. And so that led me into entrepreneurship. That led me into owning my own business, looking at my family dynamics. I needed time freedom, and I had to do it under the umbrella of becoming an entrepreneur. And I ended up becoming a marketing strategist.
So how long have you been an entrepreneur?
In this particular...
And what is an entrepreneur? Just, I'm a former educator. I'd like folks to know what we're talking about most definitively. What is an entrepreneur? An
entrepreneur, and my definition, is a person that has made a decision that they had acquired a skill, and they want to create a service for that skill to service their clients. So be it lawn care, daycare, marketing, let's say retail. That's what an entrepreneurship is. An entrepreneur, recognizing that they have a skill that they want to be in the service-based industry. And
the service-based industry is business.
It's business.
Right. Mm-hmm. You also made mention, in Mississippi, and I'm from Mississippi. What's the name of this?
Mount Bayou.
Mount Bayou. Okay, Mount Bayou. Okay, then. You are engaged in a historic effort in Mount Bayou.
Yes.
And I wanted to share with the audience that great venture. But before we do, I need to digress back to our newspaper and in the environment where we met each other. On the front page of our newspaper, at the bottom section, we had a salute to Malik Zulu Shabazz and Kareem Mohammed. And as an organization, we had a delegation, just for your information, as well as the public, that went to Jackson, Mississippi. I think, what weekend was that? Was that last weekend in August?
Yes, I think it was last weekend in August.
Right. Yes. And there was a series of rallies against police violence, as personified by the torture for a number of hours of 2 black men by 6 members of the Rankin County Sheriff Department. And this torture included, and it was rumored that these 2 black men had been involved with some white women. Mm-hmm. And these police officers, or law enforcement officers, used a false pretense of looking for drugs at their home. And they tortured these 2 black men in the ages of 30s for hours. And that torture including waterboarding, where they were simulating, make them feel as if they were drowning with water being poured over them, with milk and grease. And then the officers sexually assaulted them with a variety of sex toys. And then they put a pistol in one of the youth's mouth and fired the pistol. And luckily, the young man didn't die, and neither of them died. This case was unveiled by the attorney Malik Zulu Shabazz as well as Kareem Mohammed, which led to those officers being indicted by the federal government as well as the state government. And shockingly, they all pled guilty, and so they are to be sentenced in the upcoming weeks. And I say all that because we're down there, and part of those activities was viewing the movie Teal,
Yes.
which I had not seen until, but it had been released. Give us, within that environment, what is, and the work that you're getting ready to, are doing in Mount Bayou, give us the scenario of the Teal movie and then what you're doing in Mount Bayou.
Well, what is great significant of history that a lot of people don't know, and it's probably be the first of your viewers to hear that Mount Bayou played a significant role in the Teal story. Mount Bayou was the sanctuary city for Mamie Till Mobley. So she went to Mount Bayou.
You know where I hate to stop? Because some people may not even know about Emmett Till. So let's go into Emmett Till first,
Okay.
but we got to do that on the other side of the break.
I hope you're enjoying the Zaki Baruti show. Now we need your help to get the word out about this community affair program and so many others. Now, how do you do that? Well, you tell folks to turn to 24.2 on their television set, and even family, friends, relatives that live outside of the area, well, get them to put the NLEC TV app on their phones and look it up on their computer. 24 hours of wholesome family programming. So much community programming that you're not getting on other stations right here on NLEC TV. So please spread the word. And while you're doing that, continue to get involved in the work of the New Life Evangelistic Center. So many opportunities awaiting you and your family at this particular time. New Life Evangelistic Center is on the front lines with first responders, directly helping homeless people day after day after day. Behind me are the new headquarters for the New Life Evangelistic Center, along with the studios for NLEC TV or 24.2. You may want to drop by and visit them sometime. This is where we record the Zaki Baruti program at 2428 Woodson Road in Overland, Missouri. New Life Evangelistic Center is offering homeless people so many opportunities to be set free from the cycle of homelessness, has a wide variety of safe houses, and so many women and children are staying there, and they're learning all different kinds of different skills, all kinds of skills here at 2428 Woodson Road. We also have the training centers in New Bloomfield, Missouri, Marshfield, Missouri, the largest daytime walk-in facility, southwestern Missouri, northwestern Arkansas at 806 North Jefferson, in Springfield, Missouri, the worldwide work of the New Life Evangelistic Center in Kakata, India, and then in Lagos, Nigeria, and in Haiti, all over New Life Evangelistic Center trying to help people that are in need. New Life Evangelistic Center receives no city, state, or federal dollars, and we're only able to do this as a result of the prayers and involvement of caring people like you. So please pray for this work, and please partner with the New Life Evangelistic Center so we can continue to keep the Zaki Baruti Show and the other community affair programs on the air. Remember, tell everyone you know about it, and go to the NLEC TV app.
Welcome back to Conversation with Zaki Baruti. In studio with me is a fascinating businesswoman, Miss Kendra Fipps. And we're discussing her work that she's getting ready to embark upon, as well as she's an author. I failed to mention that you're an author. Boy, forgive me. And she's the author of 2 books, which we've discussed in part 1 of a 2-part series. And one book is entitled The 7 Secrets to Overcome Any Obstacle, which is endurance, as well as she has published the 5 underground secrets used by the top 100% of online marketers. So within that context of you being all active and what have you, and you're getting ready to do doing a major project in Mount Bayou around Emmett Till.
Yes.
For our audience, somebody may not even know who's Emmett Till.
Yes.
Describe him.
Just to give context, I want you to think about your 14-year-old son going off to travel to be with your family for the summer and does not understand the dynamics of racism, does not understand the black and white issue that's in the city in which he's visiting. And he went to a grocery store. Some say he whistled at a white woman.
And that was in 1955. I mean, get that environment. Real,
yes.
Okay, I'm
yes,
sorry.
This is back in 1955. A young mother allowed her son to go visit her family in Money, Mississippi. And unfortunately, from that visit from the grocery store, a few days later, he was brutally murdered. He was snatched out of his family's home, brutally murdered, threw his body inside of a Tallahatchie River. And they wrapped an industrial fan around his body, and they threw him in the river. And for us, his body was found. And his body floated up, and it was discovered. And she was able to bring her son back to Chicago, and her goal was to let the world see. And in the midst of that, there were 2 people that was put on trial, which were, of course, not convicted of their crimes.
And this is black and white, the victim being black, and okay, go ahead.
Yes, and the 2 men that perpetrated this murder were whites, and they were not convicted for a jury of his peers, all white men. And Mamie Till Mobley went to Mount Bayou, Mississippi to go to that particular trial. And that was her sanctuary. That was her city where she went. And Dr. Howard played a significant role in the investigation of the Till murder as well. And Dr. Howard was a doctor. He was an entrepreneur there. He had an insurance business where Medgar Evers actually worked inside of that insurance business along with Dr. Howard right there in Mount Bayou, Mississippi. And so he went along and safeguarded Mamie Till Mobley to go to that trial, along with creating an environment where journalists could stay in Mount Bayou to cover that story.
Wow. And that's a person involved that we don't hear much about, so we historically have to salute him. So we're in that environment,
Yes.
And, the rallies and the historic piece, that was real heavy. The movie itself, did that serve as a motivation for what you're doing right now in Mount Bayou? And share with us 2 things. What you are currently doing in Mount Bayou, Mississippi, and what was the motivation?
The movie served as a catalyst because I had no idea. I had my book, and I was just going to do a brochure for the museum, and then the movie came. And so I hopped on that particular project, and we did a screening there in Mount Bayou, Mississippi, on behalf of the museum, where over 400 people came out to have a private screening of the Till movie the day before it launched to the world. And from that movie being launched, from Mount Bayou playing a significant role, because Mount Bayou is in the movie. And then we worked alongside of one of the executive producers, Keith Boucamp, along with Barbara Broccoli, which is another executive director, which is Eon Production. And they came back and they wanted to leave something in Mount Bayou. And we erected the Till exhibit, where they donated the costumes to the Mount Bayou Museum. And as you can see, there was over 8 costumes. We have display of Emmett Till ring, we have his dog tag, we have his watch, we have the record player that's playing inside of the movie. All of that is right there in that museum house, the first of its kind and the only of its kind. It tells the history of Emmett Till on one side of the room, and on the other side of the room, it tells the history of making the film.
Wow. So when was the film actually made then? What year was that?
Now, this is last year. The film came out October 2022. We had T-shirts, and we were the only actually community that was able to get Till T-shirts. So 2022, 2023, the following year, we opened up that exhibit.
So going back to when you and I met, so that was a film showing in Jackson at the Mississippi History Museum. So are they re-showing it across the country, or I mean, what's happening with that? And you were there as part of the marketing team?
So I was there with the Mount Bayou Museum, and it was the Emmett Till Legacy Foundation tour weekend. And so one of the things that they did, they screened the movie. They showed a private screening of the Till movie because the executive producer was there. Jalen Hall was there as well.
And that's the youth actor who portrayed Emmett Till, who we got an opportunity to meet him. I'm glad you made mention of that. Go ahead.
Yes, Jalen is a fascinating, the ability to understand the youth and to connect with him, it was absolutely amazing. And he actually showed up last Friday at our opening as well. Okay. So yes, our museum was there as a guest at the Emmett Till Legacy Foundation tour that they were doing.
And again, just for clarity's sake, this museum in Mount Bayou was just recently opened, and we'll revisit that on the other side of the break.
So many people are hurting and hopeless. They feel despondent and in despair. They are living on the streets in conditions that are horrible and not suitable for any human being. And it takes so many loving people to walk alongside them and give them opportunities to change. Zaki Baruti and his show is exposing the people who are making a real difference in our community. And he's been a faithful partner of New Life Evangelistic Center for many years. And I want to invite you to be like Zaki Baruti and make an impact in someone's life today. You can love others well, and you can do it in a meaningful and powerful way. I am so thankful for people who have partnered like Zaki, and I just want to share some of the impacts that you're really making when you partner with New Life Evangelistic Center. You're offering 365 days of care for a woman in need who's fleeing domestic abuse. You're offering not just care, but discipleship and mentorship and training services for her. Not only are you doing that, you're also getting hygiene kits and survival gears into the hand of people who need them, who are living on the streets of St. Louis. Not only that, but you're caring for orphans and widows in India, and you're preaching the gospel in every single one of these places, India, Ukraine, and all throughout mid-Missouri. You're also helping hundreds of people each day in the day center in Springfield. You're making a real impact on the lives of hundreds every single day. And you do that when you partner alongside New Life Evangelistic Center, along with faithful partners like Zaki Baruti. How I thank God for people like you for change.
Today's subject is Emmett Till. The brutal 1955 murder of teenager Emmett Till and the news coverage it drew helped ignite the civil rights movement in America in the 1950s. Exactly what Emmett Till, a 14-year-old African-American boy, said or did to offend Carolyn Bryant, a 21-year-old white woman working in a Mississippi grocery store that August day, is still unclear. This prompted Bryant's husband, store owner Roy Bryant, and his half-brother, J.W. Milam, to abduct and kill Emmett Till and throw his body in the river. An open casket funeral and news pictures of Emmett Till's disfigured face caused worldwide news coverage of the case, in which an all-white jury acquitted the killers. After the trial, Roy Bryant and Milam, now immune from further persecution, confessed the killing to the magazine Look. The case was reopened 50 years later, and Emmett Till's body was exhumed by an autopsy. But the FBI announced in 2006 that it would not file federal charges, and a grand jury refused to indict in 2007. Emmett Till.
Welcome back to Conversation with Zaki Baruti. In studio with me is the fascinating young lady named Kendra Fipps, who's an author. She's also a writer. She's submitted a great piece on love, black love, as relates to economic empowerment in our community that's published in our newspaper. And she is the creator and the CEO of a historic museum that she just unveiled. Share when you just unveiled it. And again, what's the name of the museum?
So the museum is Mount Bayou Museum, African American Art and Culture. And our company was actually came on to do all of the marketing. And so we had the pleasure of launching this particular exhibit, which is the Teal exhibit, along with helping the museum in other areas on marketing.
Okay then, and in your opening, was it a successful opening? I mean, did you get a lot of response from the local residents?
It was beautiful. We have over 100 plus people to come out to this private event. And definitely we had the executive producer, we had Jalen Hall that actually came out, him and his mother, and along with Rick Olson, which from Olson Visual. And this was a company that was commissioned to actually erect this exhibit, the Till exhibit.
So is it an entrance fee or is it free for attendance, and what are the hours?
It's actually $15 per person because there's two sides to the museum. The museum also showcased the history of Mount Bayou, and the significance of Mount Bayou is that this town was created by two enslaved people that is connected with Jefferson Davis from his plantation. And so there's some great history that just...
And you mentioned Jefferson Davis. I mean, again, as an educator, former educator, who is Jeff Davidson? Somebody scratching their head. Who's she talking about? Who's Jefferson Davis?
He was the president of the Confederacy, and you had enslaved people running their own businesses because they believed in a utopia. And so those enslaved people had their own businesses right there on his plantation. Basically, they ran the plantation, and they grew cotton, and they were the #1 producing in cotton, and they brought that to Mount Bayou and started Mount Bayou. Mount Bayou at one time had over 40 plus businesses. We owned our own bank. We had our own gym. There were so many things that Mount Bayou had prior to them closing our bank there in Mount Bayou.
And when was that?
This is back in the 50s.
Back in the 50s. And that's interesting since I had asked that, because many people are unaware that there have been, in many areas of the United States, thriving economically businesses such as the Black Wall Street in Tulsa, Oklahoma. And there was a large area of black businesses that's in Georgia, I mean, all across America, and as you were just saying, in the community, which you were born there, am I correct?
I was born there. I was actually born and raised there, and I get to stand on the shoulders of so many giants, and I'm very grateful for that.
So share with our audience, why would you encourage people from other parts of the United States to come visit Mount Bayou?
You're uncovering untold history.
And the museum, I'm sorry.
Yes, in the museum. You're uncovering untold history. And the beautiful thing about what's happening in today's environment, you truly need to captivate your history. And for Mount Bayou, you get to really understand what Medgar Evers done, because Medgar Evers is a very large figure in Mount Bayou, along with Dr. Howard too as well. And then the Mamie Till story, along with those two enslaved people to start a town and to grow this town, where you had white people bringing their cotton to be stamped with the Mount Bayou seal just to be able to charge more. So the significance of the Mount Bayou Museum and the Mount Bayou City is great, and it's worth a tour.
What's the population of Mount Bayou right now? I'm originally from Mississippi myself,
That's right.
Aberdeen, but go ahead.
Currently, the population is only 1,900.
Okay, it's a small town.
Yes.
Okay, then on that note, we're going to take another quick break.
As we feel the darkness pressing in upon us, both personal needs and needs in the world, society as a whole, it's easy for us to get depressed. And when we're depressed and negative and feeling hopeless, we're not going to be able to help anyone. That's why I daily have to draw strength from the Word of God. That's why I have to go on walks in the midst of the wonders of God's works. And that's why I have to be able to see something that's worked for many, many years in my life, is that Jesus Christ is the same yesterday, today, and forever. That He's with us always, even to the end of the world. And that we can be a light letting His love and power flow in us and through us in a cold, dark world. There are people hurting out there. There's people that are crying out to God at this particular moment in the midst of their desperation. Can we be led by the Holy Spirit to them? Can we believe God to reach out and let His love flow through us and by faith help them meet their needs? That's the challenges that the Lord gives us in His Word. Experience the joy of really helping somebody else and letting the light and love of Christ shine in you and through you.
How important are St. Louis Metro passes to the needy? To provide stability and permanent change to the homeless, they need jobs. But how do they get transportation to look for work when they have no money? And when they find a job, how will they get there? Become a part of NLEC's Metro Pass program and help bring enduring change to a life.
I have doctor's appointments that I have to attend, going to seek jobs and putting in applications. I really would like you to understand the importance and the need for this ministry, and anything that you can do to keep this ministry going. Please know that it is an extension of God's love.
Welcome back to Conversation with Zaki Baruti. In studio with me for the next couple minutes is Miss Kendra Fipps, a fascinating young lady who also not only is have put together the Historic Museum in Mount Bayou, but she's also an author. She's written a couple books. One is entitled 7 Secrets to Overcome Any Obstacle, which is endurance. Real quick, you say secrets. Share a secret out of your book, if you don't mind, and how can people get this book?
Well, you can grab the book on Amazon. It's definitely there. Let me share a quick secret. If you're willing to create a new life, it starts with you recognizing that the beginning and end, and even the middle, the past, present, and future, you get to choose to live in the present to live out your future, meaning that your past don't even exist. And so I think sometimes we are in our present living out our past. So that's one of the biggest secrets that we really talk about in the book, living in your present, moving towards your future, and letting go of your past.
And real quickly, you have had several #1s in this book on Amazon. Am I correct? I mean, this one.
Yes, that particular book is #1 best-selling on Amazon in 9 different categories. The second book just recently came out in the last 3 months.
And that book is entitled The 5 Underground Secrets Used by the Top 100% of Online Marketers. In that you're a marketer. What is the secret out of that book?
The secret out of that book is finding the right niche, finding the right audience. We feel as if we go into business, everybody can buy our product, and that's not true. Doing the research to find the right person that you can really connect with, and I say connect with, that truly want to share your product and services because you're connected with them on a deeper level.
So if anybody is interested in getting a copy of your book, how would they get a copy?
Go to Amazon. Both books are actually on Amazon, so feel free to purchase and also leave a review. We love reviews too as well.
I know that's right. And anybody want to get in contact with you, about booking a tour there, how would they get in contact with you?
Reach out to me, kendracrow.com/hi, kendracrow.com/hi.
So we only have about 1 minute as a closing statement that you want to impress upon the thousands of people who are listening to you. What would be your message?
Find your center. There's so much out there that's creating so many distractions from us, from social media to the news. Find your center, find your cause, and be willing to donate your time and your presence to a cause that you're passionate about.
Well, I want to thank you for sharing what you have shared, and to my listening audience, again, always register to vote, always vote, but know the issues, as well as join an organization that speaks truth to power. We say join the Universal African Peoples Organization. On that note, may God bless each and every one of you.